Okay, so let's get into this. I find this paper so interesting because we're used to thinking about AI in tasks where there's a really clear right or wrong answer.
Right. You write a piece of code, it either runs or it throws an error.
Exactly. Or you do a math problem, it adds up. You get that feedback instantly.
But uh, real science doesn't work that way
Yeah.
at all. If you're trying to, say, develop a new drug,
You don't get an error message in 2 seconds.
you get a failed experiment 6 months and maybe millions of dollars later. And that's the feedback loop problem. This paper, Training AI Co-Scientists Using Rubric Rewards, really digs into.
This is from the team at Meta Superintelligence Labs, and what I love is their pivot. They just sidestepped the whole problem of simulating experiments.
Yeah, they couldn't simulate the doing of science, so they decided to simulate the planning of science.
Which is kind of like a PhD advisor and their student,
That's
right?
a perfect analogy. The student brings a plan, and the advisor, constructively tears it apart before anyone touches a beaker.
You didn't think about this control variable. Your sample size is way too small, that sort of thing.
Precisely. So to automate that advisor, they went data mining. They took thousands of published papers from ML, from medicine, from arXiv.
And they reverse engineered them. What does that actually look like?
So for every single paper, they extracted two main things. First, the big research goal. What was the problem they were trying to solve?
Okay.
And second, a goal-specific rubric.
Like a grading sheet, a checklist of what that specific successful paper actually did to solve the problem.
Exactly. It's the cheat sheet of what good looked like in that context.
So how does that become a training exercise for an AI?
This is the really clever part. They set up a system with a student AI and a judge AI. The student gets a goal and has to write a research plan.
And the judge grades it using that rubric.
Yes, but here's the twist. The judge has what they call privileged information. It gets to see the rubric, the answer key.
But the student doesn't.
The student has no idea what's on the checklist. It just knows it failed. It has to learn through trial and error how to generate a plan that satisfies a judge who knows all the secrets.
So it's learning to anticipate what rigor looks like. It's learning the rules of good science without ever being shown the rule book.
It creates what they call a generator-verifier gap. It teaches the model to self-correct.
The big question then is, does it actually work? Can an AI trained this way plan science that humans think is good?
It can, and it's pretty impressive. They put the plans in front of human ML experts, and they prefer the rubric-trained models plans 70% of the time.
70%. That is a massive leap over the base model.
It is. The experts call the plans sounder and more useful for graduate students, but honestly, that's not even the part that really got me.
This is where it gets weird, right? The cross-domain skills.
Yeah. So they trained the model heavily on medical papers. So you would expect it to get really good at planning, clinical trials.
And it did.
It did, but it also got significantly better at planning physics experiments.
Wait a minute. How does reading about biology help you design something for a particle accelerator? The domains are completely separate.
That's the whole point. It suggests the AI wasn't just memorizing medical facts, it was learning the underlying grammar of the scientific method itself.
So how to structure a hypothesis, how to isolate a variable, the logical flow.
Exactly. That abstract structure is universal. Whether you're studying cells or stars, the shape of a rigorous experiment is often very similar.
That is a wild idea. It's not learning the content of discovery, it's learning the process of discovery.
And the performance backs it up. This training method let a pretty moderately sized 30 billion parameter model compete with giants like Grok 4 thinking.
So it wasn't the top dog. I think GPT-5 thinking was still ahead, but it closed the gap significantly.
It shows it's not always about having a bigger model. Sometimes it's about better training. It gets us closer to a true AI co-scientist.
Not a replacement, but a partner. An advisor on your shoulder that's on 24/7, making sure your plan is solid before you spend the next year going down a dead end.
Invaluable. But it leaves us with a really provocative final thought. If training an AI on medicine improves its physics planning,
Then the scientific method isn't just some human tradition.
it suggests it might be a more fundamental universal algorithm for seeking truth. And if an AI can master that algorithm,
Then the barrier to making discoveries in any field could drop dramatically.
a universal language of discovery.
That is definitely something to think about. Thanks for diving in with us.